Thanks, everybody. All right, so I will begin to share the screen now. I guess it would be best if everybody muted their audio just for purposes of avoiding feedback and things like that. So thanks very much for the opportunity. I'm really excited to share some of this information with our friends in Flagstaff, either physically or virtually, because you're an inspiration to all of us, and your support of dark skies and the presence of the Lowell Observatory. It's constantly a source of inspiration to me, and I know to many of the folks on our board and living here in Fountain Hills and all around Arizona and the world. So thanks for all you do, and for being such a beacon of darkness, I guess, rather than light. We really appreciate that. Hopefully you can all see the shared presentation there. I'll begin by just quoting Carl Sagan: something somewhere incredible is waiting to be known. And we want to do our best to share what we know and what others know about dark skies and dark sky protection. We are using this as our motto: the future is ours to create. And we have here on the screen a rendering of what the International Dark Sky Discovery Center will look like here in Fountain Hills, in our town center, near the town hall and next to the library, on a big circle we call Centennial Plaza. Everybody knows where it is. It will be easily accessible to folks who come visit us in Fountain Hills. And we are excited to have this in the downtown area, because as most of you know, there's a trade-off always between location for the darkest possible sky and location for the easiest access for the visitors who might want to come and visit you. And we clearly came down on the side of this needs to be an attraction that's got easy access and allows people to come to a specific location where they're not going to be afraid to go out and just concern themselves about safety or anything like that. We'll be right in the heart of downtown, and our skies are dark enough that the facility will actually be able to do some good research as well. Fountain Hills, Arizona was identified as the world's 17th International Dark Sky Community in January of 2018. Sometimes we're called the Dark Sky Oasis in the Valley of the Sun. We're lucky to be protected from the light pollution from Phoenix and Scottsdale, not so much from Mesa, by the McDowell Mountains, which do a pretty good blocking a lot of the lower part of the light dome that gives us, makes it difficult in Phoenix and in Scottsdale to see as much of the sky as we can see here in Fountain Hills. To our north, we've got McDowell Mountain Park. To our east and west, we have reservation land, and so we're really very lucky to be positioned in a place like this. In addition, a decision was made 50 years ago not to put in street lights except in places where it's absolutely required for safety. And so we don't have a lot of street lights as well, which would otherwise have to be shielded and so on. We do care a lot about the environment. I mean, we obviously, we do star parties here in town. We've got a dark sky and astronomy mailing list with over 800 people on it who have signed up for that list just because they looked through a telescope and wanted more information. But we asked ourselves what more could be done. And so we came up with the idea that we should poll basically the major stakeholders in our town. We invited our mayor and council members together, Chamber of Commerce leaders, school district people, and the Dark Sky Association leaders. And we had a day of activity in which we put ideas board and just did a complete dump of everybody's ideas about what possibly we could include in a facility like this that might benefit. So these were the four major components that we came up with: an observatory, an exhibit hall, educational exhibit hall, a planetarium, and a theater or auditorium, none of which exist in Fountain Hills or in the immediate area, and certainly there's no place like this that has all of these facilities in one place. Our first step was to form a traditional nonprofit Arizona corporation. We're very lucky that Joe and Nancy have experience in the business world, and that Nancy is a CPA and has extensive experience in navigating the difficulties of doing this. And so we were able to create this Arizona corporation. We formed a board of directors made up of members of the community who were passionate about astronomy, dark skies, and dark sky protection, and just passionate about our community of Fountain Hills and wanting to do things about it as well. I mean, there must be 250 or 300 years of residential experience here just on this one page. We came up with a logo that we thought identified our goals. And you might ask the question of why international? If you look across the whole world, we don't think there's a single facility that includes this kind of support for dark sky preservation, but in addition, tries to talk about the well-being of humans and plants and animals, and does that all in one facility in an integrated way, where a visitor, we hope, will be able to the benefit of the astronomical information, the best and latest science about impact of artificial light at night on people, plants and animals, and of course we hope education on how to best protect the dark sky environment themselves. So our first question was, is this feasible? Can we actually, if we were to create this facility, would it actually be able to support itself in the area that we're in, the population that we have available, and so on? We were very lucky to find the fact that Arizona State University was holding a class on doing feasibility studies, and our project was allowed to compete for who wanted to work on a feasibility study for the International Dark Sky Discovery Center. Luckily, we were one of the ones chosen, and we had a really great team of 3 students who came out and did this in-depth feasibility study, and we were very happy to see that their results determined that the project was easily sustainable and feasible from a financial perspective, from an educational perspective, and the goals that we had laid out. So we were really happy about that, and that also saved us about $100,000 of money, which we didn't have at the time, in order to get this done. So that gave us some impetus to go forward. So our not only the feasibility study, but our efforts of polling our local neighbors, the mayor and local experts, we put together a total list like this of ways in which a facility like this could be beneficial to the community and to the state and to anybody who comes to visit. Lots and lots of possible opportunities here for education, and we hope opening people's minds to the idea that the dark sky is worth preserving. We got 4 major components that we considered, as I mentioned. One of them we're calling the Dark Sky Observatory. We have plans for a 27-inch plane wave corrected Dahl-Kirkham telescope that will be used for both visual observing and for astrophotography and live viewing and research. We've got a 40-foot tilted dome planetarium that will use the latest technology as well. We've got plans for an inspiration theater, which will have 150 seats, tilted, tiered seating, with the ability to show not only presentations and educational material, but also we hope movies and to be rented out for facilities, groups like book clubs and so on that would want to use this for meetings. And probably most important of all, what we call the immersion zone. This is our area that we're going to allow the public to come through. And if you've ever walked through Costco, you probably get the idea that there's a way to maneuver people through a particular educational experience. And so in this way, we're hoping to get people introduced to the concepts behind dark sky protection and the reasons why that's important. And this will be fun, interactive, educational. And folks, when they come out of this multimedia immersive experience, we hope that they will be able to come out and have a feeling that this is important, it's important to me, and I have now been educated on certain ways of protecting my dark skies, whether it's just lighting control around my house, or getting involved politically in my neighborhood, or to my town council, or talking to my neighbors, or simply just being an advocate for dark skies. The fifth component that we now consider important is something we're calling the Einstein Exploration Station. The classroom that we've got designed in the building is not going to be used all the time for classes, and so we're going to have in there information and, in particular, hands-on exhibits and experiments about the physics of light. One of the concepts that I think is important is to understand uncontrolled light is the enemy we're trying to control. And the more we know about the physics of light, and the more we can explain to the public about the physics of light in a fun and interactive way, the better prepared they will be to be able to control lighting in their neighborhood. Whether this is conveying the concept of correlated color temperature, or understanding how blue light scatters differently than light of longer wavelengths. What does wavelength mean? We're trying to get people educated about some of the terminology and the basic physics behind light. So when they go out and someone asks them about the color of light, how does that affect plants and animals at night, they'll be able to understand something about the physics of light and talk intelligently, or at least understand intelligently what is being explained to them. We've gotten a lot of support from not only our own community, but also from folks around the state and around the nation. Our mayor, obviously, and our town council have unanimously voted to support this. There's a considerable amount of land that's been donated for the identified and approved project, town-owned land on the Centennial Plaza with parking nearby. So quite a bit of investment by the town already to allow us to move forward. And we have support statements from numerous people, from our U.S. senators, the governor of the state, our local congressman, Dr. Michael Crow, the president of ASU, et cetera. So we're really pleased and happy that these folks have felt that this project is something that they want to put their name beside and support. So obviously we've got we're one of many now international dark sky communities, but of course there's also if you add up all of the dark sky places, it's estimated that there will be almost 300 of those by the year 2025. And this is pretty exciting. We're happy to be part of this project. We identified and we have now hired several components, the important construction and design components. We've hired Swaback architects and planners to do the basic design for us. PGAV Destinations out of St. Louis, which has worked on lots of large projects like this, to do the design of the immersion zone and a lot of the interior as well. And McCarthy Builders, who have built numerous facilities very similar to this around the country. All three of them have done incredible amounts of work to help make this project get off the ground and move. But in addition, there are numerous other contractors that we've hired to work on electrical, interior, landscaping, etc., including observatory systems for the observatory and several others for the planetarium as well. This is an aerial view of the site. Just to give you an idea, north is the Centennial Circle Plaza area you see in the center. In the upper left, you see the building that houses not only the town library, but also the River of Time Museum, which is a historical museum about the Verde River Valley and the area around here. And peeking through the top is the town hall. And then down in the bottom here, you see an outline in white of the Discovery Center itself. When I zoom in on that, you'll see here the large components of it: the planetarium in the upper left, the observatory in the upper right, a viewing terrace with concrete platforms with power for portable telescopes to be set up, administrative offices and gift shops and so on. In the left there, the immersion zone, where we'll have the educational component of folks walking through that zone, learning about dark sky protection and nighttime plants and animals and so on. The light lab and classroom and Einstein immersion zone in the lower left. The theater facing south there, tiered seating as well, and the Pluto snack station. We'll do our best to keep folks happy. This is an aerial view of the rendering of what this will look like as it sits on that spot on the south side of the Centennial Circle. You'll see a little bit more of this in a moment when I play the video. But we've gotten these four concepts or phrases that we like to use to summarize what this mission actually means to us. We say the future is ours to create, the sciences are ours to teach, the next generation is ours to inspire, and human health, nocturnal animals, and dark skies are ours to protect. What's inside the facility? Well, we've got some renderings here. When you walk in the door, this is what you'll see in the lobby or something like it. This will be the entrance to our this is one of the exhibits inside the immersion zone. This is a rendering of the walkway to the observatory with a display of the history of telescopes over time. And this is an overview of the areas in the immersion zone where the various educational components will be displayed for the public. You can see that you'll start at the right, walk in, and we'll have this guided tour, if you will, of the various components of learning about dark sky protection. This will be what we hope the entrance to that dark sky immersion zone looks like. When you come in, exhibits on the walls, we'll have an exhibit here that describes what your location, what the sky would look like at the place where you happen to live is on the Bortle scale as you enter your location, and this dome inside will actually change to show you what your sky would look like if you lived in a place where the Bortle scale was a little bit better than it is now. Areas where you'll pick up some sort of a token or maybe an RFID badge, and kids and possibly adults will be able to use that to play games, to earn points towards educational knowledge, and possibly have a quiz at the end. An interactive exhibit about bird migration and how that's affected by artificial light at night. An exhibit about nocturnal animals, where we'll have the ability to identify the various nocturnal animals that might be affected by artificial light at night, including nighttime pollinators. A little bit about what light is in terms of wavelength and color and so on. Perhaps some exhibits about how the eye works to explain to people just how human vision and perception, day versus night, affects your impressions of nighttime activity. Sky stories, where we explain the both modern and prehistoric knowledge about how the night sky works, and stories about the night sky, and exhibits on archaeoastronomy as well, because we know that the native populations had their own view of the sky here in the Verde Valley. It's so we feel it's really important to be able to show folks just what those stories were and how they affected people who lived at that time. And various exhibits about nighttime discoveries and how the discoveries of astronomy over time have progressed and how our human knowledge about astronomy has progressed over time. And then there's something that we call the knowledge quest, where at the end, anybody who's interested in doing this will be able to take a quiz and try and answer the questions that that we pose based on the knowledge that they got as they came through the immersion zone, and so on. So there's more information at darkskycenter.org if you're interested in it. And I would like to finish by playing for you a 2.5 minute 3D rendering and video that we put together about plans for the Dark Sky Discovery Center. And after that, we'll stop the presentation and answer any questions that you might have. So I hope you enjoy this.
The future is ours to create. The sciences are ours to teach. The next generation is ours to inspire. And human health, nocturnal animals, and dark skies are ours to protect. The mission starts here, in the world's 17th International Dark Sky Community, Fountain Hills, Arizona, with an educational attraction that will benefit the entire state of Arizona and beyond. Presenting the International Dark Sky Discovery Center. Imagine with us a dark sky observatory and looking deep into the cosmos through the largest telescope in the greater Phoenix area. Imagine further a 150-seat inspiration theater using the latest in audiovisual technology to spark the imaginations of future scientists. Envision an immersion zone that captivates the minds of all in an interactive educational experience. And finally, imagine taking young and old on journeys across the universe under the dome of the Hyperspace Planetarium. The 22,000 square foot facility will be a unique international centerpiece of science-based education. Visitors will learn not only the importance of dark skies for opening the window to the observable universe, but also for the well-being of humans, plants, and animals. The journey begins in the lobby as you are introduced to the many experiential opportunities that await. Each experience will cultivate a greater understanding of dark skies, our planet, and the universe. The journey continues as night sets in and magic begins in the Dark Sky Observatory as you view the universe like you never have before. It is a magical experience you will never forget. Help us bring that magic to life. With your donations, the future is ours to create.
Well, all right, I'll stop sharing, and we are happy to answer any questions that you have. I appreciate you taking the time to listen, to invite us to speak to you, and we're really pleased that we were able to share this with you tonight.
Very nice.
Thank you, Ed and Joe. That was a very, very uplifting and inspiring presentation. And I will admit that the first time that I heard a group in Fountain Hills was going to actively pursue dark sky activities, in my prejudice, I said, why bother up there? That's a hopeless place to be in. But what you have accomplished up there is truly amazing. And I, for one, look forward to visiting it, experiencing it, and working and seeing it mature and develop. So, thank you.
Thanks for that.
Other questions? Anybody?
I guess I had to.
What,
Oh, go ahead, Sid.
I was just going to say, well, what is sort of a time scale that you envision for actually opening your doors and beginning to have programs?
Well, let me pass it off to the color commentator here.
There you go.
All right. Good one, Ted. So anyway, and thank you, Ted, for doing this. Really, really appreciated your effort tonight to do this on my behalf. Great job. The time frame, Don, is okay. We're going to be shovel ready by January, and shovel ready means it will be completely designed. All the construction documents, the permitting from the town, et cetera, will be done. But shovel ready, if you look it up in the dictionary, doesn't mean you necessarily have the funding in place. Mm-hmm. And that's what's going to determine when we put the shovel in the ground. Now, at this point in time, it's a $25 million project, and we have raised $8.5 million. And that's has been fairly recent because actually, go back in a little history, we first launched our capital campaign about 1 month prior to COVID. Okay, so that really was a setback because we never were able to meet the kinds of people you need to meet that don't make the kinds of donations that can make this happen. But now we're making progress. We've made a lot of key connections. We have some naming rights opportunities left, major ones, and we're doing our best to reach out to these kinds of folks. And hopefully we're going to have some good luck and get the kinds of monies we need to actually put the shovel in the ground. So the answer to the question, the short answer is we don't know for sure when we're going to be fully funded, but once we're fully funded, it's about a 12-month building project.
That's incredible.
I see a question in the comments. So I don't know if you can open the comments section but Andrea says, if I may quote, "It seems as though you've addressed many important elements. Are you planning on components that address visitors with a variety of disabilities and learning styles?"
Yes, I can answer that. We're following the guidelines to make everything handicap accessible, but we're also going to try to have a lot of things for the hearing impaired or for the visual impaired. Certainly there'll be some things that just won't work, but we already are very aware of that and are trying to do our best to make it available to those kinds of people who have those
I
There
have
you go.
Yeah, I am just, I don't know, I'm just in awe of what you just showed us. And more so how you did it, like who's in charge of your fundraising? Who's in charge of your design? How did this all come together? I mean, just briefly, I think it might inspire all of us.
Well,
go ahead, Joe.
Okay, go ahead. One of the tricks is to find people like Ted and others who can each bring a skill set to the table that's important for a project this big. And so I'd have to say there's a lot of teamwork involved. I guess as far as the fundraising is concerned, the high rollers want to talk to the president, okay? They just don't want to talk to a board member or a fundraiser. They want to meet the president. So I guess you could say, I guess I'm kind of leading the fundraising. Doesn't mean I'm doing it alone, but the president kind of has to take the lead on something like that. As far as the design is concerned, actually, the initial design, believe it or not, my wife is a kind of a wannabe architect. She put out a lot of sketches on what this could possibly look like. And what she ended up with is pretty close to what you see in terms of a floor plan. But to go to the next phase and develop the elevations that we have now, that definitely takes a very good architectural firm to do something like that. And that's a firm based in Scottsdale. The principal with that firm, or I guess he's one of the key principals, lives in Fountain Hills, actually. And so he's done a great creative job creating that visual that you see.
Yeah, I can't wait. That's beautiful.
Yeah. And by the way, that I don't know about your screens, but when Ted played the video, it was pretty fuzzy on my screen. I don't know if that's the case with yours or if that's the hotel I'm in.
In some parts it was.
Okay. So anyway, if you want to see a clear image of it, just head to our homepage. And we have 2 inspiration videos on that homepage. You want each one about 2.5 to 3 minutes.
Best of luck to you. That's amazing.
Thank you. And Joe mentioned the word inspiration videos. I think that word really describes the ultimate goal. You know, we want to inspire the visitors to go off and spread the word and become a convert to the idea that dark skies are important and worth preserving.
And I'll just add one more thing from a fundraising standpoint. You know, if you've ever done a project sort of like this, we talked to about 5 or 6 different professional fundraisers early in the game. Like, we asked them, how are we going to do this? How are we supposed to do this? I'll never forget what one person said when we said, this is what we're going to do. And she said, well, you're not going to get there with bake sales. So, so basically, don't even waste your time selling bricks or tags on the seats in the auditorium or anything like that. You are going to have to find people who know people. And you're going to have to inspire some of those folks who are at the high end of the wealth spectrum to take an interest. And some of those folks, the amount of money we're talking about is not that big a deal to them. So that's the goal in pulling off a project like this. Once we get closer, that's when the foundations kick in. We have some foundations already on standby almost. You have to get to at least 50% raised before they will consider it, because they want to make sure it's something that's going to happen. So that's kind of how it works.
Right. Thank you. That's fantastic. Good luck.
Thank you.
And we have received our first $1 million pledge from a resident of Fountain Hills.
Yeah, I wondered if it was coming from residents in Fountain Hills.
Right.
2, yeah, and 2 big ones from Fountain Hills, but
yeah.
Launch crew. Yeah, and then
So I don't know whether.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to ask a question and feel free not to answer this question. But there was a rumor in certain circles that you were able to help the state of Arizona with their budget surplus problem this year.
Yes, and so did Lowell.
Okay. Very good. I'm glad to see it going to an extremely worthwhile cause and organization.
Yes.
Okay, well, I guess if there aren't any other questions, both Ted and Joe, thanks very much. Oh, did somebody else?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, barely.
Can you hear me? Okay, hold on one second. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to say, way back when I was working, I got chosen to work at the World's Fair for 2 years that it was in my state. And what you just put up as far as the film is concerned, it brings hope back. It brings the future. And I love space things and things that have to do with things that are coming up. And the children need things to inspire them. And the way this is set up with the color and the sound and everything. I'm studying color and sound and vibration and frequency now and how it affects the body and stuff. And this is just fantastic. I almost wish it was in Flagstaff so that I could go and work there or something, or volunteer, you know. So you're doing a great job. And it gives people something to hope for and something to look forward to see what's possible coming into the future. So this is really, really good.
Thank you.
Okay.